10 top tips for good design. So, why is good design so important for a business? Good design is measurable, it's profitable, and it's helpful for the customer. It builds a product around its users and it keeps its branding consistent. Tip 1. Keep it simple. Simplicity is a key design principle. Google is a great example, as it's easy to understand and easy to use. If the overall experience is enhanced by little complexity, users will still engage with the product. Tip 2. Be consistent. The orange of the EasyJet logo is instantly recognizable. The same goes for EE, which established itself very quickly as a new brand by using consistent fonts and colors to reinforce their message. Think about what your brand is saying, choose a style that reflects it and stick to it. Tip 3. Choose appropriate fonts. Appropriateness may not be an exciting concept, but it's a designer's job to find a balance between useful typefaces and expressive ones. Most of the time, one typeface will do, but if you want to add a second option, remember that the two should work well together and not distract or confuse the viewer. Comic Sans, for example, is very rarely an appropriate font to use if you want to be taken seriously. Tip 4. Pay attention to alignment. Proper alignment in your designs will make them more visually appealing and easier for the user to take in. Alignment ties together all the elements of a design. If your design has a good sense of structure, the user will subconsciously have a calmer experience. The YouTube logo is perfectly aligned. The top and bottom of the letters match up with each other, and the white lettering sits perfectly inside the red shape. It's so simple that we take it for granted, but when you change the placement of the words, you can really see the difference that good alignment makes. Tip 5. Think about contrast. Contrast grabs attention and is attractive to the eye, as long as it's done well. One of the most important things to think about, especially when designing for the web, is contrasting colour. Words should stand out, but be easy to read. There are several websites that can help you check if the contrasting colours work well together. Bright yellow and bright blue may not work, but it doesn't mean that your design has to be boring. Let positive user experience remain at the forefront of your mind and you won't go far wrong. Tip 6. White space is important. It's often assumed that unused space is wasted space, but in fact, white space is far from useless. The eye is drawn to the important stuff and the message is often clearer because of it. Apple is famous for its simple, stylish adverts which use the product as the main focus. No frills and no distraction from the core message, just the essential information. Only kidding. The actual ad looks like this. Tip 7. Check image rights. If an image doesn't belong to you, don't use it unless you have permission. A Google image search might seem like the most convenient way to obtain the image you need, but it could land you in hot water if the owner of the image finds out. There are plenty of free stock images available online if you know where to look. The variety isn't always great though, and you still have to check if the images are free for commercial use. The best option is to take your own photos and compile a stock image library of your own. Although this takes time and effort, it guarantees the originality of your photos and helps you to avoid any legal issues. Tip 8. Image resolution makes a difference. Choose your images wisely. It's not just the quality of the subject or the composition that matters, the resolution of the image makes a huge difference too. Small images don't scale up well, and you cannot create a high-resolution file from a low-resolution image. If in doubt, use a high-res image. You can always make it smaller if you need to. A small photo, usually under 1 megabyte, isn't suitable for printing. It might look great on a computer screen, but because it's a low-resolution image designed to load quickly, it will look really pixelated in print. 300 dpi is the ideal resolution for printed images, and you can check this in the image section of Photoshop. Tip 9. Think mobile first. Always design with the mobile user in mind. More people use websites on their phone or tablet than on their desktop, so if your website works well on mobile devices, people will keep using it. Tip 10. Break the rules where appropriate. Coca-Cola, one of the most recognizable brands in the world, is known for its distinctive font and red and white branding. They took a risk with Coke Life by moving to an earthy green for their packaging and advertising to give the impression of health and vitality. By making one big change and keeping other elements of the design the same, they kept the strength of the Coke brand intact and maintained a unity between their products. Skittles are synonymous with the image of a rainbow. They used this to their advantage during their 2016 Pride campaign by removing all colour from their branding and giving it to Pride to show support. Sticking to a set of rules doesn't have to be restrictive and lacking in imagination. Just be clever about it. Keep these tips in mind so your business can look as great as it sounds.